Hey, good evening. It's Chigo here. Hope you are doing well. Welcome if it's your first time here. It's Nigerian
Welcome.
XUWSP, and it's great to have you here. If you are a returning viewer, I always love seeing you guys, and that is why I'm here today. Because, fam, can we talk? It's been a bit of a rough week. It's been a bit of a rough week with work. It has been intense. It has been extremely busy. A lot of working late. This whole homeschool slash everything. Yeah, it's just been quite busy. So today I had to really pull myself to come do it. I think part of the thing as well is everything that's happening. I joined Twitter maybe like a couple of months ago. So I have a Twitter account for this YouTube channel, and it's a different kind of place, isn't it? You get to hear a lot of what's happening, and it's that old saying where a lot of news isn't good. So I think I'm a little bit overwhelmed as well with the news. Um, the explosion in Lebanon yesterday. There's been protests in Nigeria today. If there's any Nigerians watching this, comment below, let me know what's happening. But I think it was definitely long overdue. You may have heard me talk about this before. The leadership is just pathetic. It's the same bunch of people that have been in charge since 1960 when it became an independent nation. It's been the same small group of people that have been in charge, and it just needs to change hands. It just needs some fresh ideas on how to move things forward. So the protest is long overdue, but of course, the government opposes it. And so they're being arrested, they're being malhandled. Similar incident, well, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but there was the outcry from Zimbabwe just the day before. So was that, what are we on Wednesday? I think that was on Monday. See, there's just so much happening. So there's a little bit of overwhelm, and because a lot of you guys are based in the US, I seem to be dragged into what's happening in the US these days, and it's just, I think I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and I know someone's gonna say stop watching the news. I just need to find that balance. So it's just a little bit draining. I need more affirmations. I missed my affirmations this morning, so that's what I need to not miss them. I missed my affirmation. I missed my workout this morning. It's all making sense. See, as I'm talking it through, it's making sense. So I need to stick to the routine, and that's going to keep me high. But I say this all the time. That's the longest intro ever, but I feel like I was getting you guys caught up on what's been happening and how I'm feeling. Possibly why I have a red eye. I don't know why I have a red eye. This is this is quite a video, but there you go. Lastly, before I start, thanks to everyone who commented on the last one. Looks like that was a topic that lots of people were interested in hearing about and chiming into. So it's good. It's good. I'll put a link to that somewhere if you want to go and catch up on that later on. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is how to deal with current witnesses who are friends or family. And it feels like a follow on from the last video, which I just talked about, which is what I think about them. And so this is just my suggestions, take it or leave it. It's things that I've tried that are helping, have helped. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the same outcome, but you know that I like to share stuff. I am sharing my recovery journey with you, my process of fully leaving that behind, or as much as I can, considering I've got family in, and the things that have helped. So how to deal with them, and it's sort of the different phases of what things have been like. And so the first thing I've got here, which by the way, subscribe if you haven't, like the video. Okay, the first thing I've got here is fortify yourself with information. That's the very first thing. That's the very first thing. Be clear on why you left. Be clear on what those reasons were. Now, if you haven't done your research, if you left because someone pissed you off, or you heard something but you haven't really dug into it, I would highly encourage doing your research. And I would even go as far as to say, if you can, take the emotion out of it and be stone cold facts. What are the facts? What are the reasons that you left? Be clear on that. Have that information to hand. And I'm talking about family members or friends, still witnesses who are, still wanting to, who are essentially blackmailing you or being involved in your life in a way that doesn't necessarily feel positive. And we know that a lot of the times that's what it can be. Now, this is where I went wrong at the start, because if you've watched my waking up video, when I first left or stopped attending the Kingdom Hall and activities, I didn't leave because of anything that they've done. I left because I was struggling to keep up. And so I was just taking time out. And that period from 2011 to when I started doing my research at the start of 2018, I was racked with guilt because I didn't really know factually why I left. Like, it was an emotional thing. So every interaction was painful because I just had overwhelming guilt. Whereas from 2018 onwards, once I'd done my research and actually dug in, things feel different, where I know that I did the right thing for me to leave. And so the first thing is do research. Do your research. Hopefully you've done it. If you haven't, I would say absolutely do it. And be clear on why you've left and your ability to articulate that. I mean, those years we spent going door to door preaching and doing talks or assignments like the ladies would do, let's put that to use in being able to articulate our reasons for why we left. So the next thing that sort of ties into that is being able to speak up. Now, I know when it's parents and stuff, if you've come from a culture like mine, it is very, very frowned upon to speak back to parents and talk to them. But if you're an adult, I think there is a way to respectfully do that without being disrespectful. And it's going to feel strange when you do it for the first time. Now, people who don't understand African or Nigerian cultures may not get this, but parents are literally like gods in a sense. So you never speak back to them. It's just the relationship dynamic is one of submission. And so it's quite a big thing to be able to speak up to them. Now, I don't know if I'll call it fortunate. There was that imbalance in terms of the parent-child relationship, but I had something in my favor, which was the financial balance, that was tipped in my favor. And so from not living with them for years, the relationship dynamic has started changing anyway. So I don't know if I mentioned this in my waking up video, but when I first left or was sent away from home, I was 14 and never really properly lived with the family full time. And so the relationship dynamic started to change then, from less of a parent-child typical submission relationship to, I don't want to say equals, but just a bit more plain footing. And so when you add the financial element to it, then I can speak my mind. And so, but I think there's a way to do that. And it was very good for me to be able to explain the fact that I have left and I'm not coming back. They may not necessarily want to hear all the reasons why. My parents didn't, but being able to articulate that, I think that's key. That's important for them to know where you stand. Now, I want to interject here and say that, first of all, if you have a family member that still wants to talk to you, that can be a good thing depending on how that relationship's working out. Now, if you have not been disfellowshipped, then yeah, that's more likely to be the case, because of course we have family members who cut people off even before they get disfellowshipped. So let's recognize that as well. Yeah, if a family member is still wanting to be involved in your life in some way, let's acknowledge that. But at the same time, we have to make sure it's a relationship that has a net positive contribution and not a negative one. So the point 2 was this speaking up. Point 3, I put limiting contact to a minimum. Now, this is those cases where you're being blackmailed, those cases where the relationship doesn't help your well-being or your mental health. You do not have to answer every call. You do not have to respond to every message. You do not have to pick up the phone every time they call. If you need to, limit the contact to what is suitable for you. I don't know if my family is ever going to watch this, but I have done it. I have had to do it because every time oh gosh, oh, it's so weird. I can't believe. Well, if they ever come around to watching this, that means they are looking for stuff, and maybe it can lead to more conversations. But purely because every time I came off that phone call, it didn't, it was bad. I felt bad, and it just brought out a lot of negative feelings, not at them directly. I have to be clear, it wasn't about them particularly, but it's everything that's sort of wrapped up in that. And so I had to limit it. I had to limit the amount of contact that needed to happen until things were in a position where the calls weren't having that impact, or interaction wasn't having that impact. I think the message came across as well. I mean, at some point it was them sort of cutting me off completely. So it's been a bit of both ways. Certainly at the start, and then sort of more recently, me having to manage things and being clear as to why there isn't as much. But it kind of evens out. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Okay. To finish that, yeah, you have to look after yourself, and that leads on to the next point, which is working on building your own self-worth. Now, a lot of the time, the reason we don't feel good hearing this communication is a lot of the time we have been raised to judge our self-worth, our value, our goodness as a person based on the Jehovah's Witness standpoint. And when you've left that and you have a new set of values, or at least, or not yet developed a new set of values, and you continue to judge yourself based on the witness standard of value, you will consistently fail. You will consistently not meet up. And what you then do is beat yourself up and doubt whether you're a good person. I have had someone made a comment like that on one of my videos, and that is so sad. Because here's the thing, you have intrinsic goodness, intrinsic worth, intrinsic value. I was listening to, I wasn't listening to the recording itself, but the convention they have going on right now. I think it's the Rejoice convention, and of course it's the John Cedars assessment of it. And a talk, they're saying that you are absolutely nothing. Of course, without Jehovah, then you are absolutely nothing. And that's what we're told. We are told that we have no intrinsic worth or value unless Jehovah says so, in this particular way, in this particular religion, with this particular set of rules. And so when that's all you've known, and then you've left it, and you know that you're not living according to those standards anymore, you judge yourself. You don't even need them to do it for you. You do it for yourself. And this next point is you need to find your new set of values, because I promise you, they do not have a monopoly on goodness. I mean, I would say the governing body and their policies should not be the first people to talk about whether someone's good or not good, considering some of the policies they have and I've talked about in previous videos. So they do not have a monopoly on that. But you need to do the work to recognize your own intrinsic goodness and value and embrace that and realize that it is just as valid as anybody's set of values. I would say this is quite important work to do, actually, if you're truly going to move forward. If you're going to move forward and enjoy the fullness of life that is possible, you don't want to go around judging yourself. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there for years, and it hurts. It's bad enough all this stuff coming from the outside when you're judging yourself as well. I've not gotten upset in a video for okay. Yeah, you don't want to be the one judging yourself. You don't want to be the one criticizing yourself, because what that does is the slightest thing from the outside that just pulls you apart completely. When you already have that going on and someone says something, that just flattens you out. And so during that period of potentially needing to minimize contact, this is work that I would say is important to do, especially if someone that has lived by the values of this religion for a long time. I'm looking at where I've got my light. It's hanging by the edge, so it could fall off at any time and my phone will go, because I'm recording this on my phone. You want to take the time to do that work so that you're solid. So when things come up, you're not just flattened out, because you do have intrinsic goodness and value, and you don't need the governing body to know that. You don't need to have their own standards. They don't have a monopoly on it. Okay. You are complete. Let's see. Yeah, you don't need them for that. And then the last point, sort of the more drastic one, be prepared to walk away. Be prepared to walk away, depending on what's happening. If you have spoken up, if you have explained to these friends or family where you stand, you've explained why you left, why you won't be coming back, you've asked them to respect that, you've asked to not have those conversations come up if they wish to, stay in your life. These are the boundaries in terms of the conversations. Even told them how it makes you feel, and they just won't stop, and they're not respecting that. Be prepared to walk away. Again, like I said, I am speaking from experience. There has been a season where that happened. Not that I necessarily chose it, but that is what ended up happening. And that space was needed to get to the point of realizing what is acceptable and what isn't. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful if they're your family and friends, because I remember a question that I used to ask, if the people that give birth to you, that are supposed to love you the most, can choose something else above you, what does that say? It really hurts. I was not expecting this to be this emotional today. But then no one's coming to save you. You are responsible for yourself now. You are responsible for your happiness. And I promise you, there are people out there, they're not necessarily meant to replace them, but there are people out there that are going to accept you for what you are, for who you are. And they don't need you to believe a certain way for them to respect you. They can see how things make you feel, and they care about how you feel. And there's no overriding thing like the religion that's just there stopping them being the decent people that they could be in every way. And so sometimes you have to be prepared to work away and prepare for the pain that it's going to cause. If you are someone who is not yet self-sufficient, like a teenager or a child, I'm not asking you to just run away and do this. Make sure that you are prepared and ready for it. For me, when that happened, I already lived in a different country, and so it wasn't too difficult from a geographical point of view to actually do that. But this is not something to be taken lightly. But if it does come down to it, and you have tried everything, and they simply will not respect how things make you feel, or how it's impacting your mental health, or in any other way, you got to be prepared to walk away. And maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't. It's up to you. It's up to you what you're willing to take and not take. So this is like a whole range of ways that we can deal with friends and family members. I want to hear if anyone has any other thing to add to that, and put it in the comments below. Ideally, it would be nice if the family members, if they left the religion as well, because they saw for themselves that it wasn't true. That would be great. Even if they don't, if they could respect your choice to do that and don't let that come between you and them, that would be amazing, right? But things don't always go that way. And so it's about taking the power back. It's about being back in the driver's seat of your life. You no longer have to be at the mercy of what the governing body want to dangle, what they want to do. They can control the lives of their members, but they don't have to control yours as well through them. Yes, if they end up cutting you off, that has an impact, but we have a choice in how we respond to that, and work through the pain, process the pain, because there will be hurt. These are your friends, these are your family. These are the people that you thought were unconditional love. That stuff that nothing shakes, but clearly something does. So it's going to hurt, but it does get easier and easier. As I found, and as I hope you find as well, and it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey. So I want to hear what you guys think. Any other tips for how you've dealt with family members who are still in, how you're handling that. Any tips you want to share for everyone else? share the video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up to help more people see it, because the more people see it, the more people we can help get information as they're questioning things to hear they're not crazy. Questioning is good, and whatever conclusion they come to, if they do decide to leave, they won't be the only persons out there that have chosen to do that. All right, I am gonna go look after myself. I feel like I need some self-care. I need an early night. I need to rock myself gently. That sounds so crazy. And just and just chill it out a bit. It's been quite a week. Okay, folks, that was me. Take care of yourself, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.